Nathan, I'm 23 and I am the chair of Enactus Rotterdam, which is an incubator for impact startups, and I also run an impact startup myself. Yeah, it affected us quite seriously because a lot of our activities are in the outside world. So there's a lot of interpersonal contact, which was suddenly not allowed anymore. Yeah, and we are an incubator of impact startups, and a lot of these startups have physical activities. So those were all cancelled from one day to the other. So yeah, there was quite a significant impact, and that also impacted the motivation of the people in our organization, of course. But it wasn't only the work that impacted them, it's also the personal impact it had on their lives, their families, the uncertainty around that. So yeah, it was kind of a double effect on everyone. You have to first realize that this is a crisis situation, or that it's going to turn into a crisis situation, and then the important thing is to act as quickly as you can. Don't think that it will be over, that it will blow over. No one took it seriously at first, and everyone kind of had to change their mind to, oh, actually we have to take this seriously, and then, oh, so these are the consequences that are even more serious than we thought. Now, I think it's very important to separate between what your process looks like internally and what you communicate outward, because in the end you're trying to do the same thing, is to create certainty and calm and even positivity, but those require different approaches internally and what you communicate. So internally, our process was really more of a crisis management situation, and it's very good to communicate that towards each other, to have that clear for everyone. This is going to be a special week, we're going to make a lot of decisions, but then when you communicate that the changes that are going to happen, the decisions that you've made outwards to the rest of the organization, there's no need to emphasize that it's been hectic for you, or that it was a crisis situation for you internally. We always say in our board, like, the kids shouldn't see mommy and daddy fighting. So once you set on what you want to do, try to get there as quickly as you can in a crisis management kind of way. So quick decisions, and when you communicate them, the rhetoric should kind of be twisted in a positive way. I think that's something that I definitely did not realize beforehand, but now really see clearly afterwards, is that a crisis is just a changed environment, and any environmental change has an amount of negative effects, but also a number of opportunities. So it's just a shift, and you have to shift with it. So we focused in our communication outward a lot on the opportunities that it presents, to try and see the positive sides of things, and kind of appealing to the entrepreneurial mindset that we all say we have already, since we're an incubator. So kind of focus on some of the strengths that we have, and how we should now really act on the opportunities that the environment presents. And I think that's something that maybe isn't so natural to everyone in every instance. For us, it took some discussion also to make that surface, like, oh, actually there's going to be some opportunities here, and I think the being able to separate those processes and enable that rhetoric to be really framed in a positive and opportunistic way, I look at that as crisis leadership as well. This was not our first crisis situation, and I've learned that my team really appreciates if I call it out, like, this is a crisis situation. So that helps everyone be calm, actually, because we know, okay, we're going to deal with this now, and that means all the other things are going to be put aside for a while. So of course, when you're chairing a board, you're also setting the agenda. So the agenda is going to be changed. That's the first thing you do, and then it's important to be all communicating straight away that you have this change, that you have this crisis mode turned on. When you call it a crisis, it doesn't make it worse. It means that you're going to solve it. So it's not a negative thing to do. It's just a necessary thing that's going to help everyone to be on the same page. And you want to make sure that people don't act don't act without coordinating. You want to make sure that people also don't disengage or overlook the situation. So you all want to have the same level of engagement about it, and quickly change the agenda to the new situation. Because in a normal situation, I like to really be a facilitative kind of leader. There's a lot of benefit in the shared thought and having a good discussion. I don't like to take votes and to have a majority-based decision. If two people disagree, I want to hear those reasons, and we need to agree on what's objectively best. So I usually try to take a lot of time for when we make important decisions. But in a time of crisis, you just don't have that time. So on the one hand, you do speed up the process. You want to hear the arguments quickly. You want to have good, quick discussions. But in the end, you just have to take decisions more quickly. So in a crisis situation, I would accept majority decisions earlier. Yeah, the challenge for me personally is that that's different from my natural style. So I had to not only realize that this was going to be a crisis situation, I had to adapt my style also to that, which is a new kind of style that I hadn't practiced yet. So that's definitely challenging. You have to become aware of it, and then also have the confidence to act and to act on it, to adapt. I think what is really useful there is to communicate that also, just to be very open about that to your fellow board members or to the rest of the group, that you realize that this is a crisis situation and you want to make sure everyone is on the same page about that, and that means that the way we work together is going to change a little bit, and that it's not the same way that we're all used to. So that means that we have to cut each other also some slack in how that's going to work. That is also new for me, and I'm going to try to do it in this way, but just let me know honestly if there's things that I'm overlooking that you disagree with. It's always good to be on the more prepared side and the more active side of things. That's definitely something I've learned, because I didn't see coming at all how serious it was going to be, but we acted a bit on the proactive side of things, which was a kind of a gamble at the time, and that did turn out well, and I'm going to continue to do that as well, because I believe being more proactive and maybe over prepared is better than to be surprised later on.